All right, so this is a different kind of review. We are joined by two special guests, Alexa, on who you've seen before, and a new guest, Anna, a friend
Hello.
of Jessup's.
Yes. For context, Anna and I have been friends since kindergarten, first grade. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to bring her on board because it kind of connects to the theme of this movie we're looking at. Looking at Only Yesterday, a movie where Daisy Ridley goes to visit the countryside and is has a lot of childhood flashbacks to her childhood.
So it does cut back and forth between the childhood and her as an adult quite a bit, which I think
One thing,
could be. Sorry, go ahead, Alexa.
one of the things I about this movie is that the time is like the protagonist is a female Japanese kid, and then it's like it takes place in the 1960s when she was a kid, and then later when she's an adult. You know, so it's like the movie is like it also in more modern times in the 60s, which at first it's confusing, but it's like it kind of flows like a like in a Japanese garden, like the water line camera. It's like the water comes out.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It has kind of like a Zen feeling at times.
Hmm. With like the blurry edges of a memory always.
Yeah,
A good visual indicator of what's memory and what's current other than the little kid adult sort of.
The way the protagonist is like the shots of her like when she's depicted, I think is partially how you can tell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just a really good relaxing movie, and this is a Ghibli movie. It actually came out much later than the other ones.
Yes.
Which is why Daisy really ended up in this. She's actually a year younger than this movie.
Yeah, it's just. Sorry, I was gonna ask. Isn't this technically the more recent Studio Ghibli movie to be dubbed in English?
Yeah, but it originally came out in '91.
Right.
It has that 90s vibe to it. I remember that.
Well, it is set in the '80s though, or the modern time is like early 1980s, and the flashbacks go to the '60s.
I also will give the movie this: is that when it came time for the flashbacks, when they were all kids, it did manage to tackle some subjects that even we dealt with as kids. So in a way, it's pretty relatable.
Yeah.
You remember your first crush, everything.
Yeah. Some of the more awkward ones too, which are pretty funny.
I think it was kind of cute though. I think it was pretty cute.
Yeah, it was cute. One of my favorites is her trying to hide the fact that she just didn't study for a test.
And it's like we've all been there. Like, no,
yeah,
we've all
100%.
been there. And here, but the thing is, when you have two older sisters that are either like one's clearly closeted, I would say not straight. The other one's like, it's like anything you do will come back to haunt you in the most humiliating way possible. And like it showed, like she didn't want her parents to know about, but also it's like she probably had dyscalculia, just didn't know it.
There are some more things that would not be suitable probably for like Western audiences, at least if they have like little kids.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I'd say. Would you say this is kind of a coming of age story or no?
Oh yeah, it's a coming of age story, but it's also reflecting on childhood memories, which is why I like it a lot.
Right. I think in terms of all the Studio Ghibli movies we've done, this is probably the most relatable movie. I think anybody could watch and say, "Oh, yeah, that's happened in my lifetime, maybe once or twice."
Yeah. Or in my case, 5. I think in some ways it has.
Yeah. Also, I've still got it on it's like on my TV. It's showing like the credits still. I've kind of paused the movie, but one of the things I love is at the very end, as she's leaving the countryside from her visit, you see like all the kids she encountered throughout the movie, just running around. And I know that's supposed to be like in her head and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like
that they're actually there.
But it's like those friends, even though you probably will never see them again, they're still with you. You still care about them.
Yeah.
I think that's what the kind of movie's kind of building to, is like, just remember the good times.
It was a little confusing at first. I'm like, yeah, she's not having a mental break in the rain, summer rain. It's like, yeah, because sometimes it just like when your brain's just like wired like that, like stress makes your brains kind of retreat into your
Yeah, and she kind of went to the countryside to get a break too from the city.
Yeah.
You could also sort of see it in the sense of reliving old memories and old, either good or bad, is a way of like, hey, this is a lesson I learned that I didn't know I learned at the time, but a lesson I can now implement in present me to figure out how I would react to the situation if I either saw it happening or if it was happening to me currently at that point.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can read into throughout the movie too.
I think also as she became more self-aware, like as she developed like socially and mentally, she kind of like she probably realized when she was like towards like her late teens, early 20s. I'm probably not entirely like she gave off like either like ADHD vibes or just like not neurotypical energy at times, and I'm like, well, if that honestly didn't come clear at that time, I don't know when it would.
I think I read a synopsis of the movie online when I was trying to find a place when I just Googled it real fast, trying to figure out if I'd seen it before. And I think they said she was 27.
Yeah, they said 27.
Our age, basically. So
yeah, we're all kind of around that age.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry, go ahead, Jessup.
I was gonna say there's a lot of like ways to interpret the movie too, but it's mostly just I think it all, no matter which interpretation, it boils down to just loving your childhood, living the past. I lost this train of thought. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So we overall like this movie. I think it has more of a deeper meaning than I think a lot of people would give this movie credit for. I think if you saw this movie without knowing what it was about, then I think you are in for quite a treat.
At times, like aesthetically, it felt like having like mochi on the veranda, like a hot summer night in like Fukuoka with your friends, and you're like yukata is like, and you're like barefoot, and you're just like, like it's very like it's peaceful, but also it's really aesthetic actually.
It has the Studio Ghibli. I will watch the backgrounds just as much as I will watch the movie.
Yes, you could really make gifts out of that.
Yeah. I always forget. Whenever like I'm introduced to a new Studio Ghibli movie, I always have to like watch it like multiple times to fully grasp it.
Was I paying attention to the plot, or was I listening?
Exactly. Sometimes I forget which one I was.
Trees sway in the background. Who knows?
Yeah, I always forget which one I'm paying attention to.
Right, and it's like it has a different, like compared to like let's say maybe more Western American movies, Ghibli has just a different approach to like not only like the storyboard but like everything. They go the extra mile in some ways you wouldn't see here.
I've said I'm on record for saying Spirited Away is my favorite of the Ghibli movies. This might be a close second though.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think people could, look back on this and like it wasn't anything epic. Like it didn't involve like a huge adventure that like the fate of like a village or the fate of the world was at stake. It was
fate of the world, yeah. Except maybe simple, like the fate of your class's GPA if the boys keep harassing the girls about their stuff.
Oh my goodness.
It's got that bad.
Okay.
So yeah, we overall liked this movie. I personally recommend it. I think everybody else is going to recommend it as well.
Oh yeah.
So Jessup and I will be discussing what to do the next time we give you guys a review. Don't know when that'll be, but we'll keep you guys updated.
Yeah.
So until next time, we will see you for the next review.